Hi, everyone. Thank you again for joining us today. My name is Skylar Marston Beal. I use she and they pronouns, and I'm the Director of Orientation and Leadership here at the University of Puget Sound. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to our gathering today, and looking forward to hearing your questions later on. In a moment, I will ask my panelists to introduce themselves to you. But if you notice, you have a Q&A function and you can submit questions throughout this entire webinar. We have a team ready to respond to your questions. They will also be passing them to me so that if you have a question, the entirety of you can benefit from hearing that response. It does mean that I do have my cell phone here, so I apologize that I will be glancing down at that, but that's just so that I get to see the great questions you're asking so that my lovely panelists can respond to them. Thank you again for being here. And with that, I will invite my team to introduce themselves. They will share their name, their title, their pronouns if they choose, and their favorite drink at Diversions Cafe here on campus.
That's me asking clarifying questions before we get going. Good afternoon, friends. My name is Robin Eigen. My pronouns are he, him. I am the Director of Undergraduate Admission, and I am a proud alumnus of University of Puget Sound. My favorite drink at Diversions is a triple short Americano. With room, no cream, just less water.
Hi, everyone. My name's Abby Longbottom. I'm a passages coordinator this year. I use she, her pronouns. My favorite drink at Divs is an English breakfast tea.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anya Cavender. I use she, her pronouns. I am a passages coordinator for the second year this year, which is super exciting. And my favorite drink at Divs, especially in the fall, is an almond milk latte, but then with brown sugar and cinnamon.
Hi, everyone. My name is Najon Bell. I work in academic advising as an undergraduate academic advisor, and I use she, her pronouns. My favorite drink at Divs is, well, I don't like coffee, so I usually get an Arnold Palmer, and then I add like some type of syrup in it, whatever they have in there, usually like mango or raspberry, whatever they're like, what sounds good? I don't know. So yeah.
Hey everyone, my name is Will Holland. I use he, him pronouns. I am one of the student success coaches here on campus. And my favorite drink from Divs, I'm not fussy, just a drip black coffee, just like that.
Hey y'all, Emily Napier or M, they, she pronouns. I'm one of our resident directors on campus. I am fussy. I like a caramel macchiato and I want the 20 ounce and I want it with whole milk. So yeah.
Awesome, great. Actually, hang on to that for a moment, Em.
Okay, cool.
We're gonna jump into our next question here, which is throughout your time at Puget Sound thus far, what campus-wide events have left an impression on you? So what's not to miss for our incoming students? What do they want to make sure to get to within their first year here on campus?
That's a good question. So I've helped create a program called First Year Wrapped and Unwrapped. I think it's a great opportunity within your quad community. So between the north and south sides of campus, there are residence halls grouped together. You'll get to know that pretty soon. There's a healthy beef going on between North and South Quad throughout the year. And so we'll do programming within those quads. And it's a time to get together, have food, do yard games, there's music, and just to know people that live in the same quad as you. As first year students, you get access to other buildings within your quad. And so having those relationships pretty early on and then to wrap up the year, I think it's a pretty impactful time for you. So.
Yeah, I'm going to cheat a little bit. Mine is not a planned event, but as soon as the sun comes out in front of the diner, just listening to the music from cups, seeing all the students interacting with one another, I would say that is definitely not something ever to miss. If it's even close to 70 degrees, 60 degrees. If it's close to 60, you get out in front of the diner, listen to the music and hang out with friends. That's a good time.
Mine is I really like Pops on the Lawn, and that happens at the very end of the year, like literally the last day of classes. And it's like the music department puts on, well, they play music from like different things. I think they did like Star Wars. I don't really like Star Wars, but the music sounds good. And it's just a really nice, like it's usually a nice day. And everyone's just outside and like people bring their families and it's really great. So I like it.
I want to shout out Logjam, which is our big event that happens at the beginning of the school year, where student clubs and different groups and organizations on campus all come out and table around Jones Circle, and they talk about what they do. I am a proud club leader. As a senior, I'm a leader for improv. So I hope that you all come out and get involved with anything that you're interested, or you might find something new that you're now interested in. Yeah.
All right, my favorite thing, or one thing not to miss, a little more academic oriented, but I think definitely going to all those interest meetings for anything that you might be interested in studying, even if it's not something that you want to major, maybe it's something you want to minor, but just to get to know those professors early on and not necessarily in a class, but something a little more one-on-one, I think is really important when you're deciding those kinds of things.
I struggled with this question. There's a lot, and I've been around this place for almost 25 years now. Don't miss the luau every spring for family weekend. Don't miss RDG performances. The jazz orchestra does a phenomenal job of bringing in guest artists to play with the jazz orchestra, so don't miss that. Honestly, there is too much happening here. You can't do it all, but if I could give you one piece of advice, it's don't be afraid to show up to things that you're really uncertain of. There's a lot to discover and a lot to do. And in 25 years, I have not been disappointed every time I branched out. So try the unknown.
Great, thank you. And actually, Robin, I'm going to hand the mic back to you shortly. Our first question is for you. And that is, as a student trying to get through my checklist on my Puget Sound portal, where should I look to make sure I'm on top of all the things I need to do prior to arriving on campus in August?
So mypugetsound.edu really is your one-stop shop. That has all of the to-do items inside of it. So if you go in there and look at your to-do list, your checklist, and make sure that you've done all the things, that's where all the official things need to be taken care of and submitted, and you can track them there. Now, the only disadvantage to my Puget Sound is that you have to log in. So parents, family members, if you want to be helpful in this process, you oftentimes can't get into my Puget Sound to see whether or not something has actually been submitted or not. But there is a fantastic website, newstudents.pugetsound.edu, that tracks all of this information in a publicly available space. We also have an FAQ page on the admission website. So you can search for the enrollment FAQ. Perhaps we can get that dropped in the chat. But my.pugetsound.edu is the one-stop shop for doing the things. Newstudents.pugetsound.edu is where you can go to get the big picture. And then the enrollment FAQ is also super, super helpful.
Great, thank you. I'm starting to see some questions come in. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. And they actually are a great transition to Nejan. We have a question for you. Can you talk a little bit about the academic placement questionnaire and the importance of ranking my preferred advising classes?
Yeah. So you should have filled out a questionnaire if you haven't yet. Didn't do it. And that'll help us support us in creating your schedule for the fall semester. We do that. Well, the computer does it, and then we double check it as humans. And then so that ranking of your advising classes, or generally any classes you're interested in, gives us information about what you're interested in, what you're interested in majoring in. And there's not too much pressure on which one you rank highest or not highest, just because either way they're going to count towards something that's required here. And even if it's you're not sure what you want to major in, you can still get in that class and it'll count for something. And so there's not it matters in that you want to be in a class that you're interested in, but it doesn't matter in the sense that if you choose this class over this class, you'll be thrown off. It's fine. So yeah.
Great, thank you. I'm going to pitch the next one to the Passages team. When will I find out what I will be doing for my immersive experience?
Yeah, so you'll find out It's coming soon. The week of the 17th is when that is going to be launched in your My Puget Sound. So coming up here pretty soon.
Great. And so we've ranked these immersive experiences, and we'll find that out, like you said, mid-July. But what other fun things are happening during Passages?
Yeah, there's a lot of different stuff that happens during Passages. There are a bunch of events in the evening that you'll see on your schedule when the Passages schedule eventually is released that are kind of optional but highly recommended because it means you get to be meeting new people and just interacting with our campus more. Some of the fun things are things like we do a water balloon fight, normally out on Todd Field or near Todd Field, which is like every year has been such a hit. There'll be Pause for Pause, some therapy dogs come in, which is lovely. There might be some Mario Kart and tie-dye. There's always fun things going on during Passages.
Thank you. You can also find the Passages schedule that is generic for everyone on the Puget Sound website, but your specific individual schedule will show up in My Puget Sound, like they said, mid-July. Okay, Will, you're here as a student success coach. What is that?
Great question. Student success coach is just someone on campus to help you throughout your first year here on campus. So that starts the second that you deposit. In fact, if you deposited any time before Friday, 2 days ago, you have gotten a text from me or the other success coach just welcoming you to the university and offering to answer any questions that you have. Questions about how do I register for classes? What does the orientation look like? Any of these things that you have, I'm just a text away. And I'm actually pretty bored over the summer if you don't text and reach out to me. So please do. I'm here for you. And then outside of that, once the school year starts, I am proactive support. So reaching out to you, checking in with you, making sure you're doing okay. My goal is just to help you be successful, whether or not that's motivational support. This thing is happening in my life and I just want a trusted adult to talk to. It's really up to you. I'm just here to help you.
Great, awesome. Em, I'm going to pitch a similar question to you. You're here representing the RDs. What is an RD? What is an RA? And what's the difference between them?
Yeah. So take most things you learned in movies and just take that out of your brain. So RAs or resident assistants are leaders on your floor, mentors. They're going to do programming. They're going to do check-ins. They're going to host community meetings. They're really a person to help community build on your floor and within your community. There's someone to go to if you're having issues with your roommate or if there's other concerns on campus. They're going to go through a really long, extensive training to really know all the resources here for you. So really tap into them when you have questions. And there's someone to trust, and they're going to be right there living and learning on the floor with you. RDs are resident directors. That's my position. We have two other RDs, Sydney and Jadesy. They will be the RDs for the first year areas. They're really professional staff support. They oversee the student leader team, so your RAs. They help with curriculum. They help with student concerns. Their offices will be within the larger residence hall. So if you're placed in Anderson Langdon or Todd Phibbs, your RD will just be a few steps down the hall for you to check in with and ask questions. But they're really professional staff support. So if you have a roommate issue, you go to your RA, and then if your RA needs support, they'll tap into your RD. So they're really people around to support you throughout the year.
Great. Go ahead and hang on to the mic.
Cool.
We are getting some questions about when can I move in and when will I know where I'll be living next year?
Yeah, great question. I'm going to read a little bit so I don't mess this up. So your housing placement letters are going out on the 26th. 2 days. And then they should be around in your mailbox around the 28th, or maybe a little bit later, but they will be live on your My Puget Sound on the 28th. So you can actually see your housing placement. You can see your roommate if you have one, and you can see their contact information so you can start some of those conversations about living with one another. What was the second question?
I believe you got both pieces. So,
okay, cool, cool.
Oh, nope. When can I move in?
Oh, when can I move in? Yeah, that's great. I want you here. So your move-in will take place on Friday, August 23rd, and you can start moving in. Well, we move in from 9 a.m. to 3:30. When you get your paper letter in the mail, it will tell you your time frame to move in. So you can really check that to know the exact time when you can start moving your belongings in.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Nejan, what's the likelihood that I'll get into my top choice of an advising class? I know you said it doesn't matter, but I still want to know.
So historically, 80% of students get into their top two choices. So pretty good chance of getting your top choice. Sometimes students rank classes that they may not really know what it means. And so we use our best judgment to say, actually, you don't want that class. Or not that you don't want that, but just like you might say, I want to be in Spanish 201, but we see that you have not taken Spanish at all. And so we might use our judgment to change that. But most likely you'll end up in your first choice or your third choice, at least.
Right. Thank you. Robin, my admissions counselor has been amazing. They've been super supportive. They've answered lots of questions, but who's going to do that for me when I get here?
This is one of the hardest parts about working in admission is having all these great relationships with all of you, being a go-to resource throughout the process, building up the application, and spring as you made your college choice, and through the summer as you're still doing all those to-do items, and then you arrive on campus for move-in, and we don't see you anymore, which is really sad. And that's in some respects not totally true. We will see you on campus. We're here too, but we have fantastic folks here at the university, in residence halls, in faculty offices, in Diversions Cafe. Meet these folks on the panel. Admission counselors can still be here to help. Student financial services representatives will support you all 4 years, but there's no shortage of folks to reach out to at Puget Sound if you have a question, if you don't know quite where to turn. And I would say that is the very definition in your first year of what a student success coach is there to do. So we're here to help.
Thank you. Speaking of student success coaches, there are two of you, Will. How do I know which one of you I should reach out to?
Yeah, so you should have already gotten a text, skipping ahead to the third question, whoops. You should have already gotten a text from me or the other coach. We're actually hiring for the other coach in the moment, so hopefully they'll be on campus soon. But if you're under A through L-ish, I will be your coach, and if you're M-ish through Z, the other coach will be your coach.
Great, thank you. Okay, passage coordinators, when will I know who else is in my passages group for my immersive experience? And we have a great question. What steps are taken to help those of us who are more introverted socially and easily overstimulated to engage during passages and begin to take part in events early in the school year? So when will I know who's in my group? And
just try not to hit the power button. During passages, it can be very stressful. It's a lot going on. And so one thing that I really loved about passages is that it is a small group. So you are able to kind of get to know people on more of a one-to-one level. But one of the things that this year that we're doing for passages is they're called recharge rooms. So throughout the week, there's going to be different rooms with different low-key things going on where you can really just step out of passages and the hectic and kind of chaotic sometimes when there's just a lot going on, to really just come back to yourself and kind of get back in your own headspace, but maybe also still kind of meeting new people. One of them is a first postcard home. So that one's a really fun one, just to kind of have a moment to do something maybe a little more creative, and take the time for yourself. Do you want to answer the question about that? Yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of meeting your group, you will meet them on the Saturday right after move-in day, so the 24th of August. There's a kind of morning overview passages session, and then you will meet your 2 passages leaders and the rest of the incoming students in your group at that time. So it's a surprise. You won't get to know until then.
great, thank you. Nejan, we're talking a little bit about leaders and making connection and who's here to support me. Can you talk a little bit about what a peer advisor is? When will I know who mine is, and what do I go to them for?
Okay, so a peer advisor is a current student here who is there to support you through the academics, but also other things throughout the school year. So everyone's assigned them and they're connected to your faculty advisor. And usually they're connected to you based on what you said you're interested in. So if you're interested in biology, you will most likely have a biology peer advisor, unless the numbers are kind of weird. But and so basically they're there to support you with registration, talking to your faculty advisor, organization. They know everything to do with, like, they help create 4-year plans or like graduation plans. And they're going to reach out to you at least once a month throughout the year. They have office hours, and they pretty much, not that they do exactly what I do, but they like know similar information that our professional advisors know, and they might be a little more easy to approach because they're your age and they're like friendly face. And like I said, you have them all year long. And so if you're like, I don't know what to register for the spring, they can help you with that. And they actually put on programming for that. And then you will find out who they are during passages. You'll be able to meet them during passages. I don't know the exact date of when that's happening, but during passages. And then they'll probably email you a little bit before passages as well to just say, I'm blah, 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 and I'm your peer advisor. And yeah.
Yeah, great. You'll meet your PAs, as Nejan said, during passages. I'm the holder of the schedule for passages, so I've got some insider knowledge there. But Monday morning, you'll have sessions with your peer advisors and your advising class. You've told us a little bit about when we are going to know where we're living. Are there other important dates that we should be anticipating as it relates to our housing?
Yeah. Well, these are kind of housing, kind of not, but I'm going to plug them anyways. So your all hall meetings will be happening the first night that you get here. That's really important to attend. Your resident director is going to be leading that, helping you understand some of the residence life policies and living on campus and what that means. So make sure you're there. Sit next to your roommates, sit next to people you're meeting on your floor, get to know somebody. Saturday, we're going to be doing glow in the dark, capture the flag. That's with RSA. If you have questions about that, you can put it in the chat. And then on that Saturday, August 31st, we're going to be doing hall council elections. You are going to get something within your paper mail that talks about hall council. So if you want to check out I'm also going to plug this in here, the Puget Sound Residence Life Instagram, it is Puget Sound Res Life, or Res Life. One second, I wrote it down. Puget Sound Res Life. So you can check that out, and it will have some RSA information on there if you're curious about that leadership opportunity. Then just to start thinking about this, I know it feels really early, but our winter break is December 21st through January 18th. And so if you're coming from out of state, maybe thinking about like transportation home and that break and what that means for you, our residence halls will be closed, or on-campus housing will be closed during that time. So thinking about that transition back home.
Great, thank you. So passages coordinators, what is the best part of passages?
Well, since Em reminded me, I think the best part of passages is definitely the lead up on our social media, which is Puget Sound Passages, or Passages Puget Sound. You can look it up. You'll find it. But I think it's really funny. I do make them, so I think they're funny. But definitely for me, my passages while I was here was definitely the campus engagement historical journey. That is something that happens in our art gallery, the Kittredge Gallery, where you go through and you take a look at Puget Sound history and look at different student activities and different student movements that have happened. For me, that was really important just to see that the university really valued those things that were happening on campus and wanted to recognize them, especially for incoming students. And just to see who came before me and what their legacy is and what I'll be adding to that.
I think one of the best parts of passages is at the very end of passages week, if I can articulate, a thing called Final Jam happens. And this is really a time for your student leaders to kind of let loose a little bit, and they usually perform some funny skits and some songs, and it's really kind of a way for all of us to celebrate the end of Passages Week after you've done your immersive experiences, and for everyone to just have a lot of fun together. And it's goofy and it's silly, and we love to celebrate Passages. Yeah.
Okay, Robin, this one is for you. I didn't see in my Puget Sound portal where I can upload my final high school transcript. What should I do?
It's a great question. You can have an official copy of your final transcript sent to us from your high school. So sometimes those come in hard copy. Other times they will come in to us uploaded by your high school into the Common App and over to us. So there are a number of different ways that those come through. We do need them to be official, but I would say reach out to your admission counselor if you're having any kind of trouble with that. We're happy to. Good question.
M, what items should I be thinking about getting ready to pack for my res hall?
Okay, great. If you're a list person, I got you. Okay. Because I'm going to read it. This is also on the website. So if you're like, oh my gosh, they talk too fast, that's totally fine. I'll slow it down, but I'm also going to go through the list. So a surge protector is helpful to plug in things. You'll have outlets, but it's nice to have something that you can plug multiple things into. A shower caddy, something to hang things on the wall. It helps to have like painter's tape or command strips. You cannot use like nails, tacks, things like that. That would damage the wall for the next person staying in that room. Hangers and stackable crates or bins, so you can slide things underneath your bed. Microwavable dishes, so like coffee mugs, glasses, things like that. There are some like pots and pans and dishes that are within kitchens and kitchenette areas that you can use, but other students might be using those. So it will be helpful to have your own. A small rug, if you want one. The residence halls aren't carpeted, so it is tile. It makes it really easy to keep it clean, but it does make it kind of cold. So having like your own rug is really nice. We have extra long twin mattresses here, so extra long twin XL sheets, and bedding is helpful. If you'd like a reading lamp, that's helpful. An alarm clock if you're still into that. A laundry basket, and it is helpful to have Tide Pods or like a type of laundry detergent that's like for high efficiency washers, and that tends to be the pods. It also makes it really easy to store. A small fan because it can get a little toasty in the summer, and a protective mattress cover. And then if you want an Ethernet cable, because maybe you're someone that really likes to be able to plug in for Wi-Fi, you can do that. I will also share with you that your room does come, and maybe you can also see this online, but I want to tell you, a twin XL mattress, desk, chair, wardrobe, and a bookshelf to share. And if you're like, what does my room look like? I want to see a visual. I'm a visual person. I want to see that. If you go onto our Instagram page, the Puget Sound Res Life, in our highlights section, there are pictures of the rooms, so you can kind of get an idea of what that space might look like too.
Great, thank you. So keep those questions coming in the Q&A. We're getting close to being ready to focus exclusively on your questions, so start sending those in. Is Passages required? It's a lot. I've looked at the schedule online. How do I know what I need to be at?
Yeah, so Passages, once your schedule is released, your specific schedule, you'll see on there what is optional. That'll be clearly labeled just so you know what's available. And then like I said, those recharge rooms I think are going to be a great accessory for you guys to utilize. I think just to be able to still be connected, you're not, you're withdrawing a little bit, but you're still there and you're not completely withdrawn. So yeah.
Yeah. So like Abby just said, again, things that are optional will be clearly labeled as such. And we want you to know that if you already know that you have a scheduling conflict with Passages, email us, passages@pugetsound.edu. We will help you figure out, something that's going to work for you and your schedule. But we would say, like, if you're going to have to miss things, make sure you are not missing academic orientation. Academic orientation's super important. You want to be meeting your faculty advisor. You want to be meeting your peer advisor, because those people are really going to help you through your academics this first year. But everything is, we want you to be at our events.
Also, we plan them, so they're really cool. So you should definitely try them.
I'll just add, if I may, Skylar. Passages is really foundational for how we build community, a sense of place and belonging here at Puget Sound. Over 2/3 of our students who join us are the only student from their high school to come here. So for the overwhelming majority of folks, they're not coming in with 6 of their friends. I think anybody's coming with 6 of their friends. This is a place to come and really build community intentionally and find yourself in college. And I think the folks in Passages do a really phenomenal job of setting the stage for that. And so show up to Passages, lean in. I still remember my orientation experience 25 years ago as being really life-changing, informative for what Puget Sound was for me. So show up, lean in, and know that everybody else feels exactly the same way you do about being a little uncertain. That is okay and normal.
Thank you, Robin. You took many of those words out of my mouth. I would just echo much of that. I didn't say earlier, but I'm also an alum. So had a similar experience with Passages and what it does to set you up for success here. And you get as much out of it as you put into it. And it can be long at times, but everybody's experiencing that and you can bond over that too. The more you lean in, the more you show up, the more successful your launch into Puget Sound will be. We do know and want you to take care of yourselves. And so your leaders are here for you. Talk to them, talk to your RAs in the evening, keep us posted on what you need. We want to support you and we want to make sure that you make this transition well. So come join us. Emily, can you please confirm again the information about housing assignments, when that will go out?
Yeah. So the date to really remember is the 28th. June 28th, it's going to be live on your My Puget Sound. So logging into your My Puget Sound and looking at your housing placement through your portal.
Great, thank you. If I am moving from a state outside of Washington and coming in from out of state and plan on bringing a car, what do I need to do to register it in Washington? And I'll just pitch that to anybody who feels like maybe they've moved here recently and want to respond, or I'll take a stab at it.
I don't know that you need to register the car in Washington. I think it should be fine for it to be registered out of state as long as you keep that up to date. Yeah. And your driver's license will probably remain in your home state as well. I think the only place you really need to worry about registering your vehicle is with security services. Parking on campus is free, but we do want to know who's parking here. So you can register once a year with security, get the parking sticker that goes on your car. Very, very easy to do, very straightforward. Anything anybody else would add?
In your portal.
It is in your portal.
Great. Em, where is the residence for the honors program? And is there anything specific to housing for honors that I need to know?
Yeah, that's a great question. So honors this year will be in Register Hall. It's currently being renovated, really excited to kind of launch that this fall with you all when you move in. And it's going to be, a full floor. It will be honors. You'll have an honors RA with you. What you need to know, I don't know if Robin, you have anything to add. I do think that people in like the honors faculty advisors are really helpful in that. So if you've had somebody coordinate with you, reaching out to them if you have questions, but you will be placed there if you have said that you're going to be in honors. We try to put all honors students together within the hall, so you'll be in register. There's more to that, but.
Great, thanks, Em. Speaking, you've named the faculty advisor. Nijan, when do I find out who my faculty advisor is and what do they do for me?
Okay, I have it written down. So you will be able to see who your faculty advisor is in My Puget Sound on August 6th or around then. However, there is no expectation that you're going to like talk to them before you get here. And so the way we do advising here is every student is assigned a faculty advisor, and that is assigned to you based on what you said you were interested in. So like I said, if you said you're interested in biology, we'll assign you to a biology faculty advisor, and they will ultimately be there to support you in registering, your further future goals. And if you decide I'm no longer interested in biology, you would then change your advisor. And so, they also help with like similar things to peer advisors. So like graduation plans, figuring out the core and how to fit in the core and the major. And if you want to do a minor or double major, they can support with that. And then, like I said, if you want to go to graduate school or something like that, they can support with that. And they're just there to really be a supportive faculty member for you.
Great, thank you. Nijan, I'm going to stick with you for a second here. If I'm trying to transfer in credits from Running Start, how do I do that?
So you need to make sure that you submit your final transcript from the college you did Running Start at. So not just your high school transcript, but the college as well, to the registrar's office, I believe. And so, yes. And so to the registrar's office, and then those will be evaluated, and then they will be added to your what's transferred over. And yeah.
Great, thank you. And Running Start is a term that we use within Washington State specifically for high school students who are taking college classes at, say, a community college or a junior college, and you want to be able to transfer those credits in. So it's not called the same thing everywhere, but that's what we meant by Running Start. So great.
So I was a Running Start student in high school. So I did that. That term, yeah. So I did that. I did junior college and high school as well. So I know a lot about, not a lot, but I know about transferring credits. And I just want to say it's like not that hard. Like it's not as hard as I think. Sometimes it gets really scary because if I came out of high school with my associate's degree, so for me it was a little bit easier just because I came from a Washington State school. But I will say transferring credits, you just kind of work through it and you look at different ones. So if you don't have your associate's degree, they will look at each credit. But that transfer is pretty easy. Just make sure you send in to your transcript to the registrar's office and they will get you set up. And then you'll see that in your My Puget Sound and you'll see what you still need for to graduate and what you've already got covered.
I will also add, even if it doesn't have a class that directly transferred to here, you will likely get some type of elective credit. So it's worth it sending it in, even if you only took like one class or two.
So for anyone on the panel, how important is it to get a waterproof backpack for living in the PNW?
I will say, I don't know about backpacks. My backpack is just from Amazon. But I will say, I lived in Washington before coming to the west side of the mountains. So I was in the middle of Washington. It does not rain as much there. It rains here. Okay, so I would get a raincoat at least, waterproof, not water resistant. I learned my lesson. I remember a day I was walking on campus and went to the bathroom and had to squeegee out my coat because it was not waterproof. So raincoat is important.
I have a waterproof backpack. I like it. I think it's nice. It keeps my, expensive computer that I paid a lot of money for safe and dry. So if that's something you're worried about, I would say maybe invest in that. But yeah, raincoat, definitely.
I will also add, I lived in Washington my whole life. It does not rain that much. Like it rains, but it's not like pouring. It's like a little sprinkle, a little drizzle. And so I don't know if it's necessary to have like water, I don't know, resistant. What is it? Backpack? Yes. I think that it's like a little light and it's just kind of cloudy, but it's not like pouring rain. So
yeah, definitely definitely a personal preference. I very much am the nothing is waterproof, and if it's really pouring down rain, I'll wait 5 minutes or run for it. But that's you can totally get by doing that because it's mostly just sprinkles, mist.
Great. M, can you talk a little bit about room dimensions? Where would I find information about what my room will look like? And can you talk about bed lofting?
Yeah. So first I'll talk about dimensions. So you can actually find those all on the website, and you can look at floor plans when you're logged in. So you can kind of get a an idea of what your room looks like. You can also, the dimensions are on the highlights of what I had talked about before, like on the Instagram. But the website is also a really great tool to know all the dimensions of each room within your halls. And what was the second question?
You talk about lofting.
Oh, yes. So I can talk about elevating beds. So we don't actually have like lofting here. At some institutions, they have like modular furniture. We don't have modular furniture, but the beds do already come raised around 36 inches. So it's really a matter of like sometimes flipping your bed. But if you have issues with that, you can talk to your student leader and they can put a work order in for you to get those beds to a height that makes sense for you. If you have an accommodation, you need support in that. You can reach out to SAA, Student Accommodations and Accessibility. Great, thank you so much. I just call it SAA all the time. And so that's a great resource for you too if you need extra accommodations with elevating your bed.
Great, thank you. We have a question about what does passages look like for fall athletes? And I think I'm just going to go ahead and take this one. So for fall athletes, you will be predominantly focusing on your practice schedule with your team. You will participate in academic orientation, and then it is up to sort of you and your coach. Your coach will be able to tell you like, when is your free time? And then from there, you can see your passages scheduled, but your primary focus during passages will be your academic orientation and your practice schedule. And that looks different for every single team. Volleyball, for example, very likely has a tournament already by the end of the week of passages. So they're not going to be around for some of those pieces. And that's fine. That's great. Like, you are building community with your team. We will invite you to participate in as much of passages as you feel you can while taking care of your body, so that you can be devoted to connecting with your teammates, building community there, and getting settled into your new routines with practice. One thing I will say is we have some really cool evening activities that are a great way for fall athletes to jump in, meet people. We have a student interest dinner that you can come to and find a table of other folks that just share an interest with you. So I would encourage fall athletes, as much as it's really important for you to be spending time with your team, and that is a priority, to come to some of the evening things so that you don't just get isolated with only your team, so that you do start making relationships with other incoming students. I think that's key. And if you come to an evening thing that is a physical activity, think about how to participate safely. Last year, we had some football players get injured and miss part of their season, and that we do not want. So we want to encourage you to participate fully as feels good to you, and be making good choices about how to make sure that you are physically able to do the sport that you love. So, what meal plan should I get, and is there enough vegetarian options? I'm going to pitch that to everybody first, and then I will take a chance to respond if there's a need for that.
I'm a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian for a long time. There is definitely a lot of different options in the diner. There's different stations where you'll find different kinds of food. There's always a salad bar. I'm not one to like promote vegetables, but salad is good. I like salad. So I definitely think there's enough options for being a vegetarian. There's also a lot of places off campus if you want to go with your friends just to try out something new sometimes. I think that's always really important, is to just go and explore the Tacoma area. As for meal plans, I would definitely say for me, I was good with the medium plan, the one that's like kind of the one that they give you already. We do dining dollar system. So you're paying for what you're buying. It's not meal swipes. So you're not, if you want a cheese stick, you don't have to swipe for a meal. You just pay for the cheese stick. I like cheese sticks.
Me too.
Do you want it?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of great options. And also, if you are someone who has allergies, we have a really great allergy-friendly station, and they always have really delicious food as well. But yeah, all of my friends who are vegetarians have been very helped by the cafe, yeah, the diner. Yeah. And I also had the middle meal plan. it worked great for me.
Thank you. I'll also just note that on Monday afternoon, there will be, during passages, there will be a number of concurrent sessions that you can attend, and one of them is about meal plans and helping you understand how to get the most out of your meal plan, how not to blow through your dining dollars early on by getting an expensive latte every morning and special drinks, etc., as well as helping you think about what are some diner hacks to make the diner work well for you. In addition to that, if you are really concerned about being able to eat at the diner, please email us at passages@pugetsound.edu and I can help you get connected with our chef. He's extremely willing and excited to connect with anyone who has concerns about being able to eat in the diner. And so that's another resource for you. He will work individually with you to make sure that you have food to eat and can navigate that space.
Can I add something? We also have, and this is in the office that I work in, we also have a food pantry here on campus that is open to anyone. You don't need to qualify for it or apply for it, anything like that. So if you're not really sure where your next meal is going to come from, definitely check out the food pantry. It's always stocked from office staff that work in our office. And so if you have any needs or anything like that, please let us know, but definitely check out the food pantry once you get here.
Thank you. Okay, I heard that bathrooms in Seward and Register are co-ed. How does that work?
Yeah, great question. So, yeah, Seward Register both have all gender restrooms. And just to share kind of what they look like. So the stalls themselves, the toilets are floor to ceiling lock. And same with the showers. There's like a little vestibule before you get into the actual shower where you can like shut, lock the door, change, get dressed if you want to, or put your robe on. So it really is a space that you can like kind of isolate yourself to take care of your needs, whatever you need in those spaces. Yeah, and I think if you have issues with those spaces where you're running into obstacles, talk to your student leader, and they can loop your RD in if you need support in that. But yeah, I think that being able to shut and lock is a nice feature in our restrooms, and the way that a lot of our restrooms are moving within our residence halls.
I'm going to stick with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring a bike to campus. How do I sign up for bike storage and register my bike?
Yes, you can register your bike with security services. I think you can actually do that also on the portal, but if not, you can go into security services as well and walk in and register your bike. I highly suggest that if you're someone that's like a big biker, you're going to use your bike a lot. It's just helpful for them to know kind of the description of your bike and where it might be at. If you're living in a residence hall, a lot of our residence halls have bike storage rooms. So you can actually store your bike within the storage rooms, and some of them even have swipe access for the people that are within the halls. We don't usually have issues. We haven't had issues with bike theft within the halls. Outside the halls, we are a campus, we're in a neighborhood, and people are walking through. So I recommend that you use the U-bolt locks, I think is what they're called, and locking both your wheel and the, frame, thank you. The frame of your bike to the, oh my goodness. Yeah, whatever you're locking it to. There's things with outside of buildings that you can lock them to. But if you're living within a residence hall, just put it in there because it'll help with weathering, and also you won't have to worry about it getting taken. So, did I answer all those?
Cool, yep, cool. Great, thank you. Okay, passages coordinators, from your perspective as students, do students take notes on laptops, iPads? Do you have a recommendation for what we should get to bring? Do faculty allow those in the classroom?
Thank you. Personally, so as for professors, everyone's a little bit different. Some people like you to really be engaged and don't want you to have electronics out. Some professors are more want you to have something flat. So if that's a notebook or if that's an iPad, but laptops, sometimes professors don't love that just because they don't know if you're actually paying attention in class, and it's a little bit of a distraction if you're typing and people are listening to that. For me personally, I really love notebooks. I think I think having a notebook and writing it down really helps with memory. I think using highlighters is helpful. I like using pens. I don't know why I feel like that's a level above pencils, but now that you're in college, use a pen. Be serious. So.
I've used all three. I use my computer sometimes. I love to use a real notebook. I also have an iPad that I do take notes on. And the iPad has been helpful for me because then I digitize my notes and then I can get them kind of across my devices, but it is not necessary. You can have a good old paper, pencil, notebook, pen, and you will be absolutely fine. Obviously, if you're in a lab class of some kind, they'll set you up. You'll have a lab notebook and you'll use pen in that. So it's whatever works best for you and your brain, but you don't need to have anything fancy.
Great. I'm also seeing a lot of questions about healthcare while you're here at college. And so I just wanted to give you a heads up that we do have a second session like this at the end of July, and we will have a representative from our counseling, health, and wellness services on that panel. And so while I'm encouraging my team to connect with you so that we can follow up with you directly, we will also have someone who can speak more directly to that at the next panel on July 24th. So just a heads up there. Jumping back to car registration. When does that begin? Does anyone know when that'll open? I would say the one thing that I would say is that they are really not picky in the first week or so. So you do not have to have that set up before you arrive. You can log into your My Puget Sound and do that in advance, but it is also very okay to get here, get settled, and in the first week of classes even submit that and get your little decal for your car and have it registered in security. So don't stress about that one. That's one you can do once you're here. Okay, I am also seeing that we are coming almost to our time. We've got about 5 minutes left. And so I am going to take a moment to plug our next panel, which is on July 24th. It's another Monday afternoon. If you're here in Pacific Standard Time from 4 to 5 p.m. And you will be getting, if you have not already seen information go out about that, you will be getting that information as well, similar to how you heard about this panel. We hope that you will join us. Like I said, we will have someone from CHAWS there. We will have a representative from Res Life back as you're starting to really think about packing and having some of those conversations. We'll have a student success coach back, and we'll have a different set of our passages coordinators back to answer more of those questions at that time. So mark that one. I'm so sorry. I believe I may have said July 24th. It is July 29th, not July 24th. Monday, July 29th. So thank you for the team here. Okay, I think this one is probably for Will, but I think there's others on here who could take this question. What resources are there for first generation students and students of color?
Yeah, that's a great question, and there's a lot of them. One of the committees that I sit on is the First Generation Committee, which is a whole team, a whole group of staff members that really care. Most of us are first generation students ourselves, and want to give first generation students the best possible version of what Puget Sound can be and allow y'all to connect with one another. We know that college is difficult anytime. It's especially difficult if you're not coming in with all the lingo in the past from either parents or grandparents that went to college. So that's one resource for first generation students. Please be on the lookout for those emails. Be interested in that. We send out a lot of stuff and do a lot of mixers for that. We would love to get more participation. We buy a lot of food that I have to take home, which isn't good for me. So please come and eat the food. And then Em, do you want to speak a little bit about the resident community on campus for students of color?
Yeah, sure. I can totally speak to that. So we have a students of color residential community where if you identify as a student of color, you could have said you had interest in that with your housing application, and then went through an application process where you were then selected to live on the floor. And it's a time to live in community with other students of color. You have a faculty advisor, and you have a student leader that's been selected for that space. And it's really a space to retreat to at a predominantly white institution, to really be in community with one another, have conversations, have resources, and people to talk to about some of those challenging issues. And yeah, I'm trying to think if
there's definitely other resources that I would highlight, including during Passages Week on the front end, we collaborate with our Alumni and Parent Relations Office. And so on the Friday evening that you're moving into campus, there is an opportunity for students who identify as Black or African American to join members of our Black Alumni Union for a welcome dinner. On Saturday, before you say goodbye to your families, there's an opportunity to join our Sin Fronteras alumni group. If you identify as Latinx, there's a dinner for that community as well. And then in the first 2 weeks of classes, Passages hosts a couple of welcome events as well. So there will be a veterans lunch, veterans welcome lunch. There is a Loggers of Color dinner that happens in that time frame, and that includes returning students of color, faculty, and staff as well. And then there's an LGBTQ welcome dinner as well. So in those first 2 weeks, 3-ish weeks that you're on campus, there are a number of opportunities. And then finally, our Office of Institutional Equity and Diversity does a lot of programming and support for students of color, LGBTQ students, first generation students, many different groups. They support our Student Diversity Center, and we work very closely with them on a number of events that we plan for Passages Week as well. And then finally, Logjam is going to be a great place to connect with the student clubs and organizations, our identity-based groups in particular, to find additional community. Anything others would add? Sorry, go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I actually co-chair the First Gen Sport Committee that Will was talking about, and so, like Will said, we do a lot of things, and then we are hosting an information session similar to this July 9th. And so if you identify as first generation, you should be getting like an invite for that. And if you don't get an invite from that, you can email me at nbell@pugetsound.edu, and we can get you on the list. And yeah, and also a lot of as a staff of color, I would say a lot of us are here to support students of color, and be a mentor of such of some sort. And so yeah.
Great, thank you. We are almost at time. I will say I did get a question about the parents and family welcome. That schedule will be forthcoming, coming out of our Alumni and Parent Relations Office, and there is a link to their homepage if you're looking at the Passages schedule online. I do believe they will have their registration up and ready to go fairly soon here, so you can find that on the website, and they'll have a more detailed schedule. The outline of that schedule is updated on the orientation website online, and they're color coded, and you can see the parent welcome color coded. I think it's yellow, but there's a key. You could check that out, and it'll give you at least a loose sense of what that schedule will look like. Okay. Thank you all so much for joining us. These were great questions. Keep them coming. Like I said, we will be back on Monday, July 29th from 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can email passages@pugetsound.edu. And if we don't know the answer to your question, we will certainly direct it to the right office to get you connected. Thank you for being here. We look forward to meeting you in real life soon. Sorry.